Kia ora koutou. Welcome to this week's Friday Live. So this week's been quite a quiet one for me, which has been nice in a way, but I've got to admit today I was getting a bit of cabin fever, so I've been working on the third book, doing a lot of writing this week. And that's okay, and I enjoy it, but you can spend too much time at home by yourself. So today I took myself off and worked from a cafe this morning just to get a bit of a change of scenery and spark a bit more inspiration. But an interesting balance, because this quiet week has followed what was last week, more of a week of being out connecting with people, talking, delivering. So it's good to have that balance. So I'm grateful for that. I'm also grateful that it's Friday, that the weekend is upon us. And today I want to talk about something that's really passionate for me, something, but really the background to that, how this passion was sparked. And I want to talk a bit about, I guess, my former life, so my career prior to the work that I do now. So 4 or 5 years ago, I started writing books and set up my own business. Before that, there was a lot of other things that I did, and I find particularly now that those two things kind of meet in terms of my past experience and what I learned, but also why I do what I do. So those that know me, those that have worked with me, those that have followed me for some time know that my passion is empowering women to succeed. I am one, and I've worked with plenty of them, and there's some reoccurring themes. But particularly when I think back to my prior career, so before I started my own business, I had a career in human resources. I was an HR manager in the UK before I left. One of the first management job I had, I was only 24. I was working at the time for a timber manufacturing business, so very male-dominated environment. I was one of the only women on the leadership team, and obviously the youngest as well. Massive self-doubt at that time as well, and still really discovering who I was and what I wanted and what my values were, let alone the world of work and the world of being a woman in leadership. And being in HR, many of you probably out there can relate to this, who are also in HR. Being in HR, you have quite a unique, privileged role in that you end up being the coach and confidant for the leaders that you support, that you work with. And you end up, often doing payroll, being exposed to what everybody earns. You end up being involved in recruitment decisions, talent conversations, performance conversations. So you observe a lot about the business, as well as obviously being part of it. And what I noticed, I've worked with senior leaders, sat on senior leadership teams across many different countries and many different industries as well. And there's a recurring theme that I've noticed that's given rise to this passion that I have for helping more women succeed at work. And that is that quite often around those leadership tables, I observed that women were generally the minority. They were often the highest performers. They were always the lowest paid. And they were often last to put their hat in the ring for a promotion, even when they were the most qualified. And this is true, it mirrors my own journey as well. The times that I've looked at, not negotiated my salary, and then looked at everybody else's and thought, oh, bugger, I've made a mistake. And so there's so much I've learned along the way, and so many reoccurring themes, particularly around our confidence. Because we have, a lot of the time, we have to have an ability in something to doubt our confidence in that. That's how imposter syndrome works. And it's believing in that ability, being able to tap into our strengths, celebrate our successes, that help kind of lift the blindfold where that's concerned. Because quite often we can't see that in ourselves. We see it in everybody else around us, but we don't see it in ourselves. And that's what's given rise to my passion to help more women succeed. And when I talk about giving you the confidence to succeed at life, obviously a massive part of that is work, because work is part of our life. It's for many of us, it's a huge part of our life. So it makes sense that these things fit together, and the principles are the same. So when we talk about career development, when we talk about women at work, women in leadership, this is what we're talking about. So this is one of the reasons I'm so passionate about running the Women in Leadership program. Runs every year. This month it's happening in Wellington. It's the only time of the year it happens. It's the only opportunity to get involved. And you can tap into some of my 15 years working with leaders, working in HR, looking at what good looks like. But more importantly, how do we navigate the world of work as a woman so that we can succeed? And that's not just about us personally, but the stuff that goes on around us, because we know that it is still different for women. So how do we navigate that? What is it that we need to know? And what is it that we can do well in terms of our own ambition and our own success, to leverage our strengths, to deliver results, to inspire and motivate others, but to not burn out in the process. So how we look after our own energy, how we build resilience, executive stamina, all that good stuff. That's the stuff that we'll learn on that program. So the link is in the live. You've only got a limited time to get involved because there are only 10 places. The places have started to go. There are 10 because we keep it small so that people get the most benefit from the session. And it's running 25th of October in Wellington at the CQ Hotel all day. And there's bonus resources that you get to take away that will sustain you well beyond that day course as well. So I'm excited about that. That's kind of the focus for my month. I'm also looking ahead to next year and doing a bit of planning as well. And generally just, waiting for summer to arrive. Enjoy your weekends, Matiwa.